start by asking each of you to give us a brief description of what you feel the challenges are to integration, and how there is this demonization of the other, the scapegoating of the other, particularly the colored immigrant, the Muslim immigrant, the immigrant from South Asia, and how the creation of the other is important to the rise of cultural and nationalist xenophobia. So let me start maybe with Philip, if you could talk about the UK experience and Brexit, and then we'll move to Deepa and then to Akar.
I think that my where I start from is really from Amartya Sen's argument that freedoms are there not to be imposed, but really to allow people a free path towards fulfilling their own capabilities and potential, whether that means to make sure that they can get to a voting station to cast their democratic vote, or to be able to communicate with members of their society, to have access to education. And that particularly goes, I think, for immigrants, whether recent or by descent, to a society. It does seem to me that one of the things that gets in the way of people fulfilling their potential and allowing their society to fulfill the society that they've chosen to live in to fulfill its potential is prejudice and barriers and the demonization of people because of just who they are, and that goes not just for people on racial or religious grounds. The so easy way in which people like Trump or the Brexit scoundrels have been able to suggest to people that the reason that the UK isn't doing better is not that we handed £200 billion to a failing Scottish bank, but because of a few hundred thousand Polish immigrants are living in the country. I think that demonisation is actually a terrible thing. But the state also ought to be doing a lot more to say to people coming into this country, particularly vulnerable people within those communities, to say to women who might find it quite difficult to get out into society, these are the ways in which you can access libraries, books. You can, if you like, learn how to speak and write in our language without at any point imposing a set of views on these people. I'm very, very worried about the idea that Britain, which has always been a pluralist intellectual economy, should start to say, well, the key point of being British is that you love the Queen. Now, it seems to me that a key point of being British is that you have the choice whether to love the Queen, never to give the Queen a moment's thought, or to think that the Queen is a dreadful old sponger of our taxation. I mean, it doesn't seem to me to be a qualification for being British at all. And I think you should say to people, we're going to give you these opportunities. If you take advantage of them, that's all well and good. You are free not to take advantage of these opportunities, and at the end of taking advantage of all these opportunities or not, you are perfectly at ease to believe whatever you feel you want to believe.
So there's a denial of political freedom to the immigrant. The immigrant is supposed to fit a certain stereotype that the immigrant is always colored, always defined by religion, not defined by political identity or by ideology.
Yes, I think that one of the lessons of recent British political history is that the immigrant, which pollsters have always assumed could be placed in a particular political spectrum, to people's astonishment, they turn out to be human beings, and to not always to vote for the people who you think you're going to vote for. It's one of the things that totally took pollsters of the 1970s surprise that the Jewish community in London turned en masse to supporting Mrs. Thatcher. And 10 or 15 years later, the entrepreneurial Asian business community similarly started voting for the Conservative Party, but they were immigrants. They were, they weren't white. Why weren't they voting for? Well, they're allowed to vote.
So by definition, coloured people are on the loony left fringe, and they're not supposed to have political choices.
But I think actually to say, oh well, now all Asian people are entrepreneurial and therefore they are going to vote for the Conservative Party
is equal.
I mean, the danger of the immigrant in a society is that 3/4 of their humanity has been ignored. They almost seem, in people's concepts, to be simplified versions of human beings. And
Right.
that
I think that's very, very